Welcome into the CHGO Bedard Podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Yes, we are still giddy. We are still floaty.
I mean, come on. That was not the best intro you've ever done. You were a little downbeat there, considering what has just occurred.
I'm just
tired. We didn't sleep.
Yeah, I
last
slept
night.
like complete
I didn't
ass.
sleep at all. I was like, it was like
I was up
2:30.
all night watching Connor Bedard highlights.
Yeah.
And maybe a few other things.
Yeah, as predicted, I stayed up all night playing NHL 23, then went to bed, and the dog had to go to the bathroom at 4 in the morning. Then I couldn't fall back asleep, so a little sleepy, but we're all running on adrenaline, running on fumes, as most of Blackhawks Nation is today. If you've been living in a hole or you just woke up from your coma, congratulations. The Blackhawks won the draft lottery. It's 2023, by the way. Connor Bedard will be the pick, and this is a franchise changer. Today on the show, we're going to talk about that. We also have a bunch of commentary from some past interviews we've done. You're going to hear from Cam Robinson. You're going to hear from Emily Kaplan. You're going to hear from Shayna Goldman. And 3 future Connor Bedard teammates, Kevin Korchinski, Nolan Allen, and Colton Dock, all talk to us about playing with and against Connor Bedard. It's really, really good stuff. Something we didn't really get to last night, and let's just get to it and then move on from it forever. This concept of the draft being rigged. Look, I could see that if you thought the NHL was going to rig a draft, why they would want it to be the Blackhawks. It makes perfect sense. It's an original 6 team. It's a huge market. It is a rabid fan base, etc., etc. The league published a video of the entire lottery ball selection process. Stephen Wino was there. Aaron Portzline was there. Frank Saravalli was there. Lawyers were there. It was all done on camera. Gary Bettman holding up newspapers from that day to prove it was indeed
Love
May
that.
8th.
That was like my favorite part of that.
Yeah.
What's a newspaper?
2020. Yeah, exactly. It was not rigged, and there are a lot of butthurt hockey fans out there. 31 other teams worth. So the concept of the rig, fine. I'm not even going to really pay it any credence. It's not rigged.
I feel like we have to kind of split our feelings on the 2 biggest things people are upset about with the Blackhawks getting the top overall pick. The rigging part is nonsense. I think that we all agree on that,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
All right, continue, Jay.
The other part is this whole lack of justice, or the Hawks didn't deserve to get this pick, and it's a bad look for the NHL for this to happen. I'll say this. If you feel the Blackhawks should have lost draft capital for the Kyle Beach scandal, I can see where you're coming from. I get it.
And you're probably right.
Yeah. That said, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
They were not penalized draft picks. They were fined $2.5 million. He who shall not be named, Joel Quenneville, John McDonough, El McIsaac, everyone affiliated with the leadership group at that time is no longer with the organization.
No longer in the league.
Correct. As of today, or end of the season, every player affiliated with that team, the last 2 holdouts, Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane, are also out of the organization. Yes, the Blackhawks deserve punishment. Yes, they got off too easily. However, there's no one there anymore aside from Rocky Wirtz, and you can't fire the owner to punish. So for our teammates at PHNX to say that this dark Kyle Beach cloud is going to follow Connor Bedard around for his career is nonsense. It is saltiness. It is butthurtness. Connor Bedard has nothing to do with what happened to Kyle Beach in 2010.
He was learning his ABCs
He was
when that
4
happened.
years old when that
It's
happened.
unfair. Okay, first of all, it makes me a little sick to my stomach that the only time most people even bring up Kyle Beach's name is to shit on the Blackhawks.
Right.
Do you think he wants his name to be used in that sense? I don't think so.
No.
Yes, I agree. The Blackhawks got off easy with that.
Yeah.
But two quick points, and I'll try to make this as less ranty as possible. Mm-hmm. First of all, Connor Bedard does not deserve to be associated with that scandal.
No.
Kevin Korchinski does not deserve to be associated with that scandal. Luke Richardson does not deserve to be. Mackenzie Entwistle has been through enough. He does not need to be associated with that scandal. Nobody in that locker room had anything to do with it now. Nobody in that locker room going forward during the rest of this era had anything to do with it. The fans had nothing to do with it. Why are you going to punish one of the biggest, most loyal fan bases in the league that already had lost a generation of fans to mismanagement? Now they got them back. So, yes, the Blackhawks got off easy, but that should not be a punishment to the players that are here now and the players that are coming in the future that had zero to do with it. And you also have to think on a business standpoint why the Blackhawks got off easy. Because when the Blackhawks are at the top of the league, they are making money for everybody in the league. Why would you punish them into the Stone Age? That makes no sense from a business standpoint. So all the butthurt Blues fans and crybaby Red Wings fans and butthurt Coyote fans that we didn't get justice, boo effing who? You guys won't be complaining when the salary cap goes up a few $1 million over the next 5 or 6 seasons because the Blackhawks are good again. You won't be complaining then. Maybe the Coyotes can actually afford to keep some of their players around instead of having to trade for Shea Weber's contract again.
Yeah.
So the lottery is random, completely random. It's not rigged. And yes, I agree with the Blackhawks should have been punished more, but they weren't. And now they were rewarded because of the system that is put in front of them. They played the game according to the system. So let's move on. I'm not saying we need to forget about the scandal. Absolutely
Never,
not.
of course.
That needs to be at the forefront to make sure it never happens again. But you can't punish people who are in this locker room today for something that happened 13 years ago when they were just getting the training wheels put off their bicycle.
Right.
And I don't want any Canadian hockey fans celebrating any gold medals that Team Canada wins because of their sex scandal.
Yep.
Right?
It's easy to pick and choose.
Yeah, it's
Team
very
Canada
easy.
just won another world champion junior gold medal
With Connor Bedard.
with Connor Bedard.
Yep. The other thing about this is if you're suggesting that this should not be allowed to happen, you are suggesting rigging the draft. You are suggesting saying, okay, we're going to have this draft happen this way, but the Hawks, we're not going to let them get that number 1 pick. That's rigging the draft. So you want it rigged in favor of who?
It's yeah.
Who's the squeaky clean organization in the NHL?
I doubt there is one.
Couldn't
There's not.
give you an
Maybe
answer.
Seattle because they just haven't been around long enough.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
They just started.
If we're gonna
Who's buried underneath Climate Pledge?
if you're gonna like not reward any professional sports franchises who have done shitty things in the past, and no one's ever getting rewarded.
Right.
Period.
Right. Exactly. All right. Can we wash our hands of this? Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I think it's 31 fan bases that didn't want to see Connor Bedard go to one specific team, and it ended up going to that one specific team. And if I was part of those 31 other fan bases, I would probably feel exactly the same.
Yeah.
And to the people who are the most upset and angry, disappointed, whatever you want to say about, the Blackhawks landing the top overall pick and getting the opportunity to select Connor Bedard and turn their franchise around with him being a piece of it. Look, like, we hear it, we see it, you are heard, you are understood, you are probably right. But this is the outcome that it is. And I echo your guys' points. Like, those things that happened within the organization, that they enabled Brad Aldrich to still be around and be able to continue working in hockey years after what he did to Kyle Beach and others. It's inexcusable, but it shouldn't carry to the players that had nothing to do with it. And it's just unfortunate that, we already know the scene that Nashville is going to be for the Blackhawks having the first pick. And worst kept secret in hockey, it's going to be Connor Bedard. That arena is going to be so loud with boos. And as much as we say, oh, we're going to love it and suck at Nashville and all that stuff, like, it's going to suck for Connor Bedard to get that first, like, experience with the Blackhawks being thunderously booed.
You're assuming it's filled with Predators fans.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be booze.
If it's anything like a Hawks Predators game in like circa 2013,
it's the fans of all 31 other teams.
You know,
but it's Connor Bedard. I don't know.
It would happen too, though, if he was a Ranger or a Leaf or a Red Wing or anyone that's ever beaten the Predators.
I honestly think it would be different. You're gonna have the booing and jeering because it's the draft, because it's the Blackhawks with the top overall pick in Nashville. It's gonna be different, and it's unfortunate that that's gonna be his first experience, but my point I'm trying to make and get to is that you're gonna be hard pressed to find fans of the Blackhawks that are excited for Connor Bedard in the context of, I'm so glad that ownership gets Connor Bedard. They're not. No one outside of the Wirtz family, I'm sure, is thinking that. People are excited for themselves as fans. They're excited for their friends who are fans, their family members who are fans. There are so many people, all of us included, that have deep-rooted roots in being fans of the Blackhawks team and players that have come through here and people that you've gotten to meet and know and become friends with and the community of Blackhawks fans. I think that's why everyone's excited. And I think that's who everyone is excited for, because outside of those directly involved in everything that happened over the last decade, the fan base has gone through just getting the ricochet of the blame, and I think it's why people are excited for the most part, and I think that, you know, Connor Bedard coming to Chicago, this is a hockey market, a sports market that we want to embrace and love the star players, like we talk about all the time. Talked about it, yesterday. Austin Matthews is a free agent next summer, and he could come to Chicago and instantly be like loved and want to be successful. Chicago as a sports market, we want the Stars to be people that we love and appreciate and glorify. It's not Toronto. Right. It's not New York. It's not Edmonton. It's not Vancouver. It's not markets that as soon as something goes wrong, you are now the villain. You are now the problem. There's so many Blackhawks fans wanted Adam Boquist and Kirby Dach to work out. So many people want Justin Fields to be the quarterback of the Bears for the next 15 years and lead them to a Super Bowl. So you're not going to find people that want them to fail or are going to jump down their throats, if they're not leading to success. So I think, people are saying like, oh, he should pull a Lindros and not play for the Blackhawks organization. He's going to come to a city that wants him to reach his potential and wants him to be that guy. And I think that is the reception that I hope, if and when he does become a Blackhawk, that he embraces, and that the city will embrace him, and that's the fan base that he's going to care about hearing from.
Yep. And you know what? If he has any bad feelings or getting booed in Nashville, those will quickly be erased when he's announced in the starting lineup on opening night at a sold-out United Center.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Be a lot more cheers for Connor Bedard than boos.
There's going to be a lot of people at the United Center next year based on all the season tickets they sold right after they won the draft lottery.
Yeah.
The excitement is back.
Yeah.
You don't get that all the time. And you know what? People that say he should pull a Lindros, how'd that work out for Eric Lindros and the Flyers?
Yep. I remember him hoisting a cup.
The Quebec Nordiques, a.k.a. Colorado Avalanche, won the Stanley Cup 4 years after he refused to play for him. So,
all right, let's move on from this. Let's get to the good news of the day, of course.
Connor Bedard is going to be a Blackhawk.
That's right. We got a $5 super chat from Nick. He says, I had a nightmare. We chose Fantilli over Bedard last night. No way Kyle tries to outsmart the draft, right?
Yeah,
no. There
Nick.
is no way in hell
Everything's fine.
that's going to happen.
He has already submitted whatever card he has to fill out to submit for the first. He's already submitted that. It's done.
Also, in the spirit of the 2023 number 1 overall pick, we are having a massive sale on all CHGO Blackhawks merch today at chgolocker.com. All
only.
CHGO Blackhawks t-shirts are $23 today only.
They're the Backhawks.
The
Get it?
Backhawks.
We're back.
While supplies last, so jump in. They are going quickly. There was one I tried to order that's already sold out in my size, so hurry up. Get those orders in. $23 Tuesday, May 9th only at chgolocker.com. And, of course, Die Hard save an additional 20%, so jump in there and take advantage of that. All right, we're going to take a quick time out real quick, and then when we come back from the little break here, we will get into some of our video highlights from previously in the offseason and in the year of really, really smart people, smarter than us, talking about Connor Bedard.
Shout out to New Schooler. Couple $3 there, Canadian. Bedard, baby, let's go!
Nice, like it. Thank you for giving Mario's voice
Yeah,
a
I was
rest. He
gonna
was
say,
the guy screaming last night.
Thank you for taking over that duty.
Yeah, that was some intense,
Feeling rough.
some intense moments. Feeling rough, but I'm sure it's totally worth it.
The voice is feeling rough.
Yeah.
Nothing a good couple of Goose Island beers can't take care of. Goose Island, there they are. They are the proud sponsor of us, the beer sponsor of us here at CHGO, and they have been Chicago's beer since 1988. How can you argue with a beer roster as deep and talented as theirs? They got the Goose IPA, a 6-time medal winner at the Great American Beer Fest, always in style with a citrus aroma and bold hop finish. Of course, the Tropical Beer Hug, the dry hopped Imperial IPA. It is a 9.9 ABV beer that is dangerously easy to drink. One of those will take care of you nice and good. They got the full pocket pills, an everyday beer. It's what the beer brewers are drinking. Of course, the golden cans, the 312 wheat ale, staple of their deep and talented roster. Hey, grab yourself an ultra fresh brewery exclusive beer at Goose Island's original brew house on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park, or you can head over to their tap room on Fulton Street in Westtown and get a great beer anywhere you go with Goose Island. Again, that is the Goose Island Beer Company.
You know, this morning, I went out for a nice long walk. The birds were singing a little louder. My thermos full of coffee brewed with the tears of 31 other fan bases was just absolutely delicious.
Saltier than usual.
It was the best tasting coffee I've had in a long time. And I wore my Shady Rays because the sun was out. It just felt great. And you could take on the sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather ahead with their premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we wore. Shady Rays is way too humble. They are better than any expensive pair. I've been a customer of theirs long before they became a sponsor because they have durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures like roaming the streets of Wilmette or sitting in construction on the Kennedy.
Yes.
That's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on the very first day, they told us they will send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. Did your sunglasses fly off your head last night when you celebrated the Blackhawks landing the number 1 overall pick? Well, you can wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. And together with their customers, Shady Rays is providing much-needed support to nonprofit partners across the United States through the Shady Rays Impact Initiative. They're doing everything from building play sets for pediatric cancer patients to providing young adults with MS the outdoor adventure of a lifetime. Shady Rays is making an impact in your community and others just like it now and for years to come. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, spoiler alert, you will. You can always exchange them for a new pair or return them free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. And exclusive for our listeners, along with those $23 T-shirts at the CHGOLocker.com, you can go to ShadyRays.com, use the promo code CHGO for 50% off all orders featuring 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Trust me on this one. You're going to want to try for yourself the shades rated by 5 stars by over 250,000 people, including this guy right here.
All right, there you have it. Hey, smash that like button for us, by the way. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube page as well. Podcast listeners, follow and subscribe where you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That would be greatly appreciated. All right, let's get through some of this audio here. Should we go chronologically? All right, Lawrence, you tell us where to start.
We were told to do. So yes.
Hey, shirtless dark guy.
Hey.
He's out celebrating Connor Bedard.
Norm.
All right, who's up first, Lawrence?
We're going to start with Cam Robinson. This was from last December 8th.
All right.
So we'll just kind of go there, and we'll...
Cam Robinson and Connor Bedard. If we're talking comps, who is the Connor Bedard NHL comp? If you could compare him to somebody in the league right now, or historically, maybe, who would that be?
Yeah, so the one I've kind of keep coming back to is I think he is a sniper version of Patrick Kane. So obviously they play different positions with Kane on the wing and Bedard down the middle. We'll see if Bedard ends up being a center in the NHL. I think he certainly can be, and teams will draft him as such. But he has that slick playmaking. He's got great hands, great awareness, knows how to hit spots. At the junior level, he can get a little silly out there with some of his moves when he doesn't need to, but who cares, right? He's just this mega star who can get away with it. But the difference there is that he shoots the puck as well as anyone on the planet, including Austin Matthews. He has that drag and release shot that arguably, I'm not sure if anyone else in the NHL other than Matthews can shoot it like him. So he's doing that at 17. He won't even turn 18 till next summer. Honestly, there's no reason to doubt that this kid's going to be a 50-goal scorer when he's in the NHL, maybe even a 60-goal scorer. And so you add that with the type of hands he has, like a Patrick Kane, and that offensive creativity. I said that for Fantilli, I wanted to see him kind of up his decision-making and his problem-solving. For Bedard, I wanted to see him up his playmaking, and he's done that. So both these players have kind of hit exactly what you wanted to see from them this year, and they're doing it simultaneously as they're trying to combat, kind of go head-to-head. But yeah, Bedard is a fully complete offensive player. The defensive side of things has some things to be worked on, but you don't pay that kid to play defense and to hit guys in the open ice. You pay him to put the puck in the net. He's going to do that a whole bunch.
That is the comp that will not go away. Hey. Patrick Kane with Austin Matthews shot.
Yes.
Sploosh.
Sign me up. And that was and that was Cam talking about Bedard before he went and dismantled everybody at the World Juniors.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It is. Yeah.
I don't know what, I really don't know what else to say. It's just crazy that a player of his caliber is going to be available to the Blackhawks.
Just to get specific, by the way, on the World Junior Championships, aside from his 143 points in 57 WHL games, in 7 World Junior Championships games, he had 23 points. That is against the best players his age in the world. Mm-hmm. 23 points in 7 games.
That's over 3 points a game by my math.
That's the math I can do.
That's it. Say what you want about the WHL, say what you want about who the Regina Pats play, whatever. You can't bat an eye at the World Junior Championships and the performance he put on. Yeah. With the spotlight blasting on him, mm-hmm. All eyes that tournament were on Connor Bedard. All eyes. And he not only did he meet expectations, he shattered expectations.
And he showed up in the big moments. He had the OT winner in the quarterfinals. He was a big performer in the medal rounds. He absolutely met and exceeded every expectation that was put on him. Even in the last 2 seasons in juniors and for the World Juniors, every expectation that people in the scouting community has had for him, he's met and exceeded it.
And then one of the most impressive things about that was when he got interviewed after scoring that huge overtime goal. He didn't want to talk about the goal. He wanted to talk about his teammates.
Right.
So you've getting this amazing talent who also has that high character that Kyle Davidson, the Blackhawks, crave so much.
Yeah.
Like it's too good to be true, but it is.
Yeah.
And he's going to be in a Blackhawks jersey. I mean, it's so exciting.
Next up, we've got ESPN's Emily Kaplan. This is from January 30th. She talks as well about Connor Bedard. You made that comparison with Bedard, Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid. I think McDavid's already in the conversation today as like a top 5 all-time player. Is there any way, like, is Bedard that good? Could he be McDavid good?
I'm not sure McDavid good. I think McDavid is just on a different wavelength right now. We haven't seen someone quite this dominant in some time. I think the trouble that I have with Bedard, and I think evaluators do too, is that the best is yet to come. And if you've seen him, he still has a lot of physical development that he needs to go through just, with his age. So we don't quite know how he's going to net out. But I think he would just be one small rung under McDavid, just the way that he's been able to take over games with as much spotlight and pressure that he had. And I don't think that part has really been covered enough because the noise is really loud about him. And everyone you talk to, whether it's NHL evaluators, agents, teammates, coaches, none of it seems to faze him. The fact that like his junior team was like, oh yeah, it's totally cool after World Juniors, and you just lit the entire show up and won a gold medal, like take a couple games off. And no, he was playing their very next game and I think had 4 points, like 3 goals and an assist or something insane. And then just insane production after that. So he's a very special player, probably one rung under McDavid, but it's going to be a while before we see another McDavid. I'll put it that way.
A rung under McDavid. That's another thing we've sort of heard is somewhere between Matthews and McDavid.
That's
is where
fine.
Connor Bedard projects. Okay.
Oh, if I have to settle for just one rung below Connor
right.
McDavid, fine.
I mean, McDavid, when it's all said and done, will be considered one of the top 3-4 players of all time when he's done.
Probably.
Could be in the argument for greatest ever.
Yeah, people would make that argument.
I mean, he needs a cup, right? But
Sure.
I hope he wears a cup. I mean,
what's that?
baseball players, they need to wear a cup.
yeah, of course, for safety. But
Hockey players.
fine.
I'm thinking of Mike
if
Trout.
you're a notch below one of the top 5 best players of all time,
Yeah,
I will take that.
That's absolutely fine. And there's some chatter I've heard of like, well, he might not be like McDavid. He might be more like Patrick Kane and have a Patrick Kane type of career. Okay,
That worked out pretty
that's
well.
fine.
yeah.
Yeah, that worked
Like,
out
I'm
fine.
not complaining with
3
with
Stanley
that.
Cups, a Hart Trophy.
You don't
Yeah,
have to be.
okay.
And Kyle Davidson, when we spoke with him after we talked to Kyle Davidson, that like completely was like, oh yeah, we also did that last night. Talking with him after the draft lottery last night and how much he emphasized like it's not about one player. We have to build a complete team along with Connor Bedard, who he didn't name, but we know who that's going to be. It's the same with when Patrick Kane was here in the heyday. He was one of the best players on the planet for a stretch of time, and he was playing alongside a number of other players that played either star roles or complementary roles and played them perfectly. So yeah, like Connor Bedard, sure, he may not be the McDavid-esque type player where he's considered the best player in the league for a decade and a half continuously. But if he's along those lines of like, you know what, he's probably one of the top 5 players in the league right now. If that's what he ends up being, which is great. If he's surrounded by other guys, it's going to elevate other guys that can meet that level, reach their potential. Guys like Korchinski and Nazar and Ethan Del Mastro and like those guys coming in, Lucas Reichel. Like if those, I was talking with my buddy yesterday. I was just like, if half of the prospects that we are excited about right now reach their potential in Chicago, the Blackhawks are going to be a cup contender for a decade.
Yeah, it's definitely trending in that direction. You're adding Connor Bedard to a team that has the 5th rated prospect pool in the league. Oh, and by the way, we have 7 more picks in the first 3 rounds of an historical deep draft after Connor Bedard.
Pretty good.
And an extra first-round pick in 2024. And an extra first-round pick in 2025.
Mm-hmm. Now, they might not make all those picks.
No. Or okay, you use them to get something else you need.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's why it's an asset, right?
This is how you do it, folks. You want to call me a Kyle Davidson apologist, whatever, even though he's got nothing to apologize for at this point. This is how you do it.
Right.
You tear it down to the studs, you get as much as you can, and you stick to the plan. It doesn't sound like he's going to deviate very much this offseason. And he's just going to you're adding Connor Bedard to an already pretty darn good prospect pool, and then you're getting even more prospects after him. It's going to be it's now not all these guys are going to pan out. Not all these guys are going to play for the Blackhawks, but this is how you do it. The more chances, the more prospects you add, the more chances you have to hit.
As we talk about, Kyle Davidson doing it the right way, you look at some of the teams in the league that are halving it, that are trying to maybe we'll go young, but sign some veterans in there to help us out. Nashville, they got the 15th pick in this draft. They're going to get a good player, but not someone that's going to alter the franchise. Pittsburgh, who brought the band back together to play exactly as many playoff games as the Hawks did this year, 0. Vancouver, they started selling some pieces last year a little bit, but
yeah, it's
where do you come out of this? And that's kind of the thing is for all the people that were against the way Kyle Davidson did this, we asked all year, what's the alternative? Present an alternative that will work to get the Hawks not just back to the playoffs, not just back to winning a round, to winning the Stanley Cup, to having the best or among the best rosters in the NHL, and no one had an answer for us. Well, you could have kept DeBrincat and you could have kept Doc. Okay, but then where do you get your first-round picks last year? Korchinski's not there. Right? Dazar's not there. Rinzel's not there. You don't have any first-round picks, right?
Right.
So already that's invalid. Sure, those guys make this year's team better, but Kyle Davidson took a look around and looked at Kirby Dach and said, this guy's not going to change my organization.
Yeah.
You have to have big brass ones, and he's got them, man. He is unafraid.
If you go through last year's draft, take away their first-round picks, and then you go into last night, and let's say they end up with the 11th or 12th pick, how excited are you for the future? How much trust do you have that things are going to turn around quickly?
You don't.
You don't.
So, yes, you've got Doc, you've got DeBrincat on the team, maybe. Okay, let's play pretend. So maybe they have the 5th or 6th worst record in the league this year. They pick where he said, "What's the way out?" There's no way out of that,
right?
Unless you hit a grand slam in the middle of the first round, which can happen, right? There's those guys that are way better than projected, sure, but you want to give yourself the best chance to get the best players, and it's exactly what they did. Yep. So I don't know. I think, and yes, it's easy to look back in hindsight and say, well, because they got Connor Bedard, obviously it was the right thing to do. But had it been Fantilli or Mitch Carver-Carlson, I don't know if it would really change the conversation that much, because any of those three, especially the first two, will probably end up being better or as good as Alex DeBrincat, right?
Right, yeah.
So it's, I know it was hard. I know it was painful. But I love the fact that this GM is unafraid. Doesn't care about your feelings. He doesn't care about your memories. He doesn't care about your framed artwork in your man cave or your she shed. He wants this team to get back to Stanley Cup glory.
And that's what I love. Sometimes I said it last year when the possibly soon-to-be unemployed Kyle Dubas wouldn't give up a first-round pick for Marc-Andre Fleury. Nice guys don't win Stanley Cups. You got to be ruthless. Sometimes you got to be a dick. And you make the unpopular moves. You be cold-blooded. You take the heat. But you know what? If Kyle Davidson's in 6-7 years, hopefully sooner, is standing on top of one of those double-decker buses holding the Stanley Cup, nobody's going to be like, that's the guy that traded Patrick Kane. Get him.
Right.
No.
Yeah, right.
They're going to be like, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. All right, next cut we have is from Shayna Goldman from The Athletic. This is January 31st. Shayna gets into more of the analytical part of Connor Bedard's game. how good of a prospect is this kid?
He's really good. I think looking at first overall picks is honestly really difficult because we've been spoiled by the likes of Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid. And if someone doesn't match up to that, automatically everyone yells their bust and their disappointment. You look at Rasmus Dahlin, he's a prime example of that. He's hitting his stride now, but some didn't have the patience for him to get there. And in recent years, we've seen first overall picks struggle a little bit more, the Jack Hugheses of the world, and look at what he's doing now. And, Alexis Lafreniere still hasn't hit his stride at the NHL level. So all of that is worth keeping in stride. There's a middle ground between having a terrible rookie year and having a fantastic one and becoming a generational talent. That said, there's a lot of reason to like Connor Bedard as a prospect and to like him as a first overall pick and to have high hopes for what he's going to do. We did some of the math during World Juniors. It's changed since because he's returned to the WHL and has been absolutely crushing it. But a while back, Dom Lucian did work on the value of a draft pick, and he found that a first overall pick is expected to bring 18 wins to a lineup over their first 7 seasons. So that's not 7 NHL seasons necessarily. It's the 7+ seasons after a player was drafted. At the time, his model had Bedard to be worth 22.6 wins over his first 7 seasons, which is even better. It's above average for that pick. But to keep some context, to keep it, even, McDavid, he was worth almost 31 wins in his first 7 seasons. And Matthews, who's in that 7th season right now, is already worth 28 wins. So, it's not those heights, but it's still above average and very good for a first overall pick. That's
Shayna Goldman from The Athletic. So I like the analytical slant to it. I like that she says, it changed a little bit after the World Junior Championships. Yeah, bit. It's going to, after you have a performance like that. Yeah. Look, wherever you go, whoever you talk to, the consensus is this kid's going to be really, really damn good. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably the most tempered.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But that as an analytics person, that's sort of Shayna's job, is to be not buy into the hype, crunch the numbers, and see where it goes.
And definitely from that perspective, that analytical perspective, what Connor Bedard can do with the Blackhawks, a lot of that is also going to be predicated on who he's playing with.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to that necessity to not put everything on his shoulders and make sure that there's a team around him that will help him be hopefully one of the best players in the league for his entire career.
Yeah. And that's when we talked to Chris Peters last week, he sort of said, if the Hawks end up getting Connor Bedard, they are sort of obligated to give him some help right away. Yeah. Now, I think we can all assume that he and Lucas Reichel will be line mates. Who fills out? And here's the question, though. Is Bedard a center? Is Bedard a wing? Yeah. Is Reichel a center? Is Reichel a wing? So that's kind of the chess game that Luke Richardson has to play, because center-wise, you got Tyler Johnson, you got Cole Gutman.
This organization has no depth at that position.
There's no center depth.
If they want either of those two guys to be a center, you can shoehorn them in, because no one's taking that spot. Hey, maybe Max Domi comes back and is a center again. Who knows? I was just going to look up who are the free agent centers.
I'm looking right now.
Okay. You're probably faster than me.
They're not
Jonathan Taves.
Oh.
Well, about that.
Well, let's be realistic here, okay? So, we want to look not ancient like Taves, but somebody with maybe something to prove on a short-term deal, because
a guy who's got his legs underneath him.
But Davidson said they're not going long-term here.
Right.
And when he spoke to him yesterday, he said, I'm not really straying from this path. Right. I'm sticking with what we need to do. So, Sean Monahan, 28 and a half years old, made $6.3 million with Montreal.
Not for that money.
Health issues.
He's a free agent.
Jordan Stahl is 35. Patrice Bergeron is 37.
He's retiring probably.
Alex Killorn, 33 years old.
Is he play center?
He's listed as a center.
Oh, okay.
Alex Kerfoot, 28 years old.
No.
JT Compher.
Hey, you know what? Not to be the top line center, but Northbrook's own JT Compher coming to Chicago.
I don't mind that.
That'd be fine.
I'm down with that. Lars Eller, 34 years old.
That's a guy that I think they may target because that's a guy that you can get assets for at the deadline.
Sure, but does he have his? If you're putting a player between Reichel and Bedard, they're going to have to keep up. So,
well, yeah, I'm not saying that's the guy you bring in to put in between those two guys, but that's a guy you bring in to play center.
I didn't mention Ryan O'Reilly because the assumption is he's going to go to a contender.
Yeah, I can't see him coming here.
It's so funny how Chicago is already a market that players like to come to, and a team that players want to come to because it's it's an original six. It's one of the most well-known organizations in all of hockey. Having Bedard here might change the minds of some free agents and say, well, I want to go to a contender. I want to play meaningful games. It might be like, hey, a year or two in Chicago with the Blackhawks, with this young group coming in, that's including Connor Bedard. Maybe that might be fun.
And he's 32. It's not like Ryan O'Reilly's ancient. It feels like he's been playing forever.
Right.
Yeah, but by the time the Hawks are ready to be like true contenders again, he's going to be 36, 37. Yeah. Why waste
He's got a cup.
Yeah,
so...
I'm not saying O'Reilly specifically, but guys, players like him.
Your point's correct. It certainly opens up the pool of people who are going to, hey, it's Kyle Davidson, click. Right. That's not happening anymore.
Yeah. I feel
Any center in this league is going to be like, let's talk.
Those phone calls will be answered a little bit more.
The Alex Killorn name is interesting.
Yeah.
Because that's a guy that helps build that culture. Another Tyler Johnson type guy that
64 points in 82 games this year. 4.45 million.
Yeah.
He's a guy I bring in for 2-3 years. Whatever. I bring him in because that's a guy that's got that, been there, done that. 2 Stanley Cups, 3 straight Stanley Cup finals.
He was on
4 Stanley Cup finals.
Yeah,
he was on that
2015
team because he scored that ridiculous goal against the Blackhawks.
Yeah, I remember that.
I really like Comfer too. I think Comfer's not a terrible idea.
Bring them both in.
With
got the money.
However, though, with Landeskog missing the entire year next year, which was announced today.
Yeah,
that changes things for Colorado. So Comfer maybe sticks around, resigns. Who knows?
Jonathan Toews to Colorado. Heard it here first.
There you go. Just going through the list, there's not a ton others that really stand out.
I think
Luke Glendening, that's a fourth liner.
Yeah.
Paul Stastny,
man,
37-year-old Paul Stastny. No.
I mean, you're looking. And the people we're looking for are guys to play here next year, maybe 2 years. These aren't guys that are going to be long-term pieces. We're not building the next playoff team here next year just because you got Connor Bedard. That's why a guy like Lars Ellers makes sense because. Not necessarily because I still think they're going to give Bedard every chance to play center next season. Why
give
not?
Him an opportunity.
It's the time to do it.
Yeah.
We're also learning that faceoffs aren't as valuable as they seem. The Hawks were one of the best teams at faceoffs in the league last year.
Yeah.
It didn't
There's a lot
amount
that
to
goes
much
into what you do with the puck.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well, when you win faceoffs and you have guys that could actually pass to each other, it might help.
Yeah, it helps.
Let me ask you this, and maybe this is a different show for a different day, so feel free to pause me if you'd like to. Could you see the Hawks making a play for Timo Meier?
No. Not.
It's not part. It's not part of Davidson's long-term.
That would be the
26.
I mean,
that would be the deviation. I think
I would be for it. I wouldn't be against that. I wouldn't be mad at it. But when Kyle Davidson says he's sticking to his plan, I believe him.
I agree.
I think that would be a play. That would be a player.
That's the type of player you get next summer. Maybe.
Yeah, and you're not signing him to a short-term deal. You're signing him to 6-7 years.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's. I don't think. That's,
well, especially if you're targeting Matthews or maybe Draisaitl the next year.
Be something that.
Yeah.
Davidson's going to do.
It's interesting, and somebody up there in the chat mentioned Ryan Reeves to bring in some protection for Bedard. I don't know if that's really a thing anymore.
Ryan Reeves, from everything we know, is loved by his team. It's kind of like Max Domi. We all poo-pooed Max Domi, the idea of him coming here, and then he came here, and then he played, and we got to talk with him and experience him in person.
Ryan Reeves is a fantastic human being. Does a lot of community work.
Yep.
I don't want him on my hockey team, though.
I think if you're looking to win, well, hey, maybe next year it's a guy to have who's not going to win you too many games. I don't think you play Ryan Reeves because Connor Bedard is here.
He's 36.
He's been around for a long time.
I know, but man, I would have guessed like 33,
remember when he was on
34.
the Blues? That was like 4 teams ago for him.
Remember when the Blues got a first-round draft pick from him?
Yes.
From Pittsburgh to protect Sidney Crosby, and he was on Vegas within 3 months?
I just think the whole concept of protection is overrated.
It is.
You know, you just had who did Trudeau almost kill? Why am I blanking on that?
A lot of people.
Timo Meier.
Yeah, Timo Meier almost got murdered on the ice by Trudeau.
Yeah.
He does it all the time. It's not the deterrent thing is not a factor.
There are guys already on the roster that will drop the gloves, like Connor Murphy and Jared Tenorti. You don't need 4 or 5 of those players.
Yeah.
No, you've got guys like that. You've got Reese Johnson. You've got Jared Tenorti, like you said. You've got guys that are willing to stick up for their teammates.
I think he'd be fun to cover.
If Max Domi comes back, there's another one.
There's another one. Yeah, you got guys like that. Just as long as they're not their goalie, they'll stick up for you.
It's crazy. You know, the more as much as we were like, hey, Max Domi, maybe he'll come back. Man, the way he talked about the team, the city, Luke Richardson, wanting to be, you know, in Chicago for a long time. Now that the Blackhawks have the top overall pick, it seems like the best option for him for what he wants to do. Play in an elevated role, have an extended term contract, probably be overpaid by a little bit more than you're going to get on the fair market value in Chicago, and you get to play with Reichel and Bedard and be a leader in a open locker room, a younger locker room. Like, that's a great situation for a guy like Max Domi.
I have a feeling when that card was flipped over by Bill Daly last night, Max Domi reached for his phone and sent a little text to his agent saying, hey,
Chicago or bust.
Get that channel open, because as soon as we get eliminated here by the Kraken,
Yeah.
I want to come back to Chicago.
Just got an email from the Chicago Blackhawks. The subject, join the ride. The future is bright, it says. For the second time in franchise history, the Blackhawks hold the number 1 overall pick in the upcoming NHL draft. This potentially franchise-altering selection, along with a highly ranked prospect pool. This is great, man. They're right on it. They don't even need to be. They sold, what, like 1,200 season ticket packages?
Over $5 million.
Almost
$5 million
worth of
including
season tickets.
1,200 new full season ticket members.
Unreal.
It's crazy. People,
it's exciting.
People, they said join the ride in the email.
Join the ride. That's the email subject.
Hey, they know it's TM'd over here.
Right.
The hop on the ride. So
exactly.
They don't blatantly copy us like some other people.
Hey, shirtless start guy.
Shots
Hey,
fired.
shirtless start guy's back again.
There he is.
All
all right.
98 tattoo I see on his back.
That looks fresh. Another piece of audio to play, the last one and my favorite. We were able to talk to, on March 29th, Seattle Thunderbirds Colton Dock, Kevin Korchinski, and Nolan Allen. We asked the trio about playing with and against Connor Bedard, and here's what they had to say. You guys have had the chance to play with Connor Bedard. You've got to tell us what it's like, because that's the guy. After, just so you guys know, we do a post-game show after every show, and then to end the show, we end it with a draft like a draft lottery simulation, because we're just chomping at the bit to have Connor Bedard come to Chicago. So those of you that have played with him, let us know what it's like.
Yeah, you know, for me, definitely. I never met him before I went there, and about a week before we went to camp, I played versus him, and you know, going into that game, I was really adamant on not letting him get a point or, you know, do anything, and I was trying to shut him down or whatever. But when I finally got to meet him, you know, what he does on the ice is, you know, incredible. Everyone sees, but you know, what he does off the ice is, you know, what sticks out to me. I think he doesn't need to be that guy, but he is that guy who, you know, reaches out and talks to everyone and sees how they're going and what's going on. And with me, when I separated my shoulder, like, he didn't have to come and talk to me during those game days. He had other stuff to focus on, but you know, just come reaching out and seeing how I was doing and what was going on, and just sitting there and chatting with me. You know, that was huge. That was a big thing I noticed with him.
Yeah, like Doc said, his high character. He's a guy that kind of dedicates his life to hockey. He doesn't take any shortcuts. He does everything you need to do to be the best, you could say. So, and yeah, obviously his play on the ice, he's got kind of everything he can dish the puck. He's got that shot, that vision, skating. He's got everything. So, and yeah, I think it's just a testament to his hard work. And that's something that he just, like I said, dedicates his life to. So, yeah, if the Hawks are going to be great, I think he's going to be a hell of a player in the NHL.
Yeah, like these guys said, I mean, obviously I hope Chicago gets that first overall pick so they can take him. But yeah, it's crazy.
So do we.
Guys on the ice, and you're trying to defend him in practice when he's coming down on you on camp. You're kind of a little bit nervous when he's coming down on you, but you know, like these guys said, he's even a better guy off the ice, which is the best part about him.
I mean,
hey,
that's awesome. Like, that's awesome to hear.
That is what they call peer reviews.
Yeah, and those guys, like, they don't have, at that point, they don't know he's going to be the pick. They're they're shooting from the hip. Like, hey, great guy, love playing with him, tough to play against, and awesome guy off the ice. Like, when you hear it from the players, that's what gets me the most excited. And speaking of that, like, too, we also had this conversation last night, like how happy we all are for Seth Jones and Connor Murphy and these veterans who maybe thought when they were coming to Chicago it was going to be a different experience, and then they had to go through last year and they're like, oh God, you know, and all of a sudden just life is breathed in to this whole organization top to bottom. And we got a comment from Kevin Korchinski, #1 fan.
Hey.
Says, I bought my Bedard jersey to the T-Birds game last night and held it to the glass in warm-ups. Doc and Korch were loving it. That's
nice.
awesome.
That's awesome.
That's very, very cool.
And speaking of the Seattle Thunderbirds, they are in the WHL final. They took care of Kamloops last night, getting a win in Game 6. So they will face the Winnipeg Ice in the WHL finals with a chance to play in the Memorial Cup. Also on the line, back-to-back WHL final appearances for the Seattle Thunderbirds and for Kevin Korchinski specifically. Him, Doc, and Alan, yeah, they go for that WHL final championship. That'll be a lot of fun to keep tabs on. And yeah, those guys, I mean, they've all played against him. They all played with him. It's great to it's great to not only hear from their perspective how good he is on the ice and what it is to play against him in practice and games, how much he changes the game when he's on the ice specifically, but also the kind of teammate he is. And I think, you know, there have been top overall picks, top overall prospects who have had quote-unquote character issues that have either caused them to not end up being the top overall pick because they didn't rub the team with the first pick the right way, or those character issues or whatever have caused them to, you know, have their careers stifled a bit. And it doesn't seem like Connor Bedard is that kind of guy. Every indication is that he's a good kid. He knows the gravity that he holds as the player that he is. You know, there's been a you know, coverage, and you know, it's been talked about how his parents have kind of had to like tell him and prepare him of being like, hey, like, you're this really amazing superstar athlete. When you get to the highest level, you're no longer going to be solely just shined upon because of who you are. Like, there's going to be some challenges. So I think, you know, for the majority of probably his teenage years and maybe even before that, he's probably been conditioned to be prepared for like, hey, like, there's going to be a lot of pressure on you. And you know, if he's able to handle that, which it seems like he is, that's a good thing. And you know, the pressure that there is on him to succeed right away in Chicago, I think, like I said before, I think it's coming from that pressure is not going to be, you better be the next Connor McDavid and revive this team or else. Like, it's not that tone. It's we want you to be that player because we want to put you up on that Blackhawks Mount Rushmore, put you in those discussions in the next 15, 20 years. Like, we want that to be the reality. We don't want to see your first misstep so that we can take you down.
we are going to tell you about our friends at ComEd, and after that, we've got a little bit of breaking news from the Blackhawks world, so stay with us here for the next, minute or so, and we'll share that news before we wrap the show up.
Yes, you mentioned ComEd, and their energy efficiency program is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities they serve, helping manage energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future.
Yes, ComEd offers a wide variety of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across their territory. ComEd also offers free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities, like for HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, or industrial processes.
How does that work?
Well, Greg, an authorized engineer will work with you to develop a detailed assessment plan specific to your goals and needs. These can be done in person or virtually and last approximately 2 hours. Within 3 to 4 weeks, customers will receive a report detailing energy efficiency projects that they can start working on immediately. Each recommendation will include estimated energy savings, cost savings, project costs, potential incentives, and simple payback. If you own a business, don't wait. Get started saving money and energy today, Monergy. For energy-saving tips, lighting incentives, or to schedule your free facility assessment, go to ComEd.com/poweringbiz.
Did you say ComEd.com/poweringbiz, B-I-Z?
I did indeed. Schedule it today. All right, the breaking news, Connor Murphy has been named the Blackhawks nominee for the 2022-23 King Clancy Memorial Trophy. That is presented to the player who best exemplifies leadership qualities on and off the ice and has made a noteworthy humanitarian contribution in his community. That is a no-brainer when it comes to the Blackhawks.
Is this a new award?
No, it's been around for a while.
Been around?
Yeah.
I don't ever
It's one of those like to the side awards, but like Murphy being nominated, absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's a no-brainer. Yeah.
Makes all the sense in the world. Really
That's
good
awesome.
dude. Great in the community. Always eager to speak, win or lose, about social issues, whatever. Connor Murphy is a great dude. I'm not Jewish, but the term mensch seems like it fits. It fits very well. All right, before we wrap up, one final reminder about our CHGO Blackhawks shirt sale. $23 Blackhawks t-shirts at chgolocker.com today. Today only, so get them while they last. And we've got to knock out some super chats here. A $5 from Kyle says, been listening to you guys for a long time. So happy that the channel will likely boom with number 98 in the org. Thank you guys for being awesome. Well, we can't help it. But thank you for saying it, Kyle.
Awesome.
$5 super chat from Nick says, one of y'all said next year Reichel will lead in points on the Hawks, even with Bedard. Still believe that?
That was me, and yes,
Greg.
I do. Someone's got to assist on all 80 of those Connor Bedard goals.
There you go. All right. Nick with a $4.99 says, do you guys think the Hawks should trade the Tampa pick and one of the seconds this year to move back into the top 10? I'm not against that.
Get me Mitch Goff.
Sure. Go for it.
Why not?
And finally, Young Dangle God with a $5 super chat says, trade up from 19 with a second rounder and take Gabe Perreault at 14. Offer sheet Lafreniere.
You lost me.
$4.2 million and send the Rangers a second as compensation.
I'm
There's
so
your
tired
help.
of Lafreniere. I don't want
I'm
him.
good.
No.
I'm good without him.
Gabe Perreault probably won't be there at 14 anyway.
Yes, and of course our buddy Charlie the Bacon Guy says Bacon Day plans are being made.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine what it'd be like when the Hawks
bacon.
win the cup again. We're going to have bacon here soon. Let's go.
There's that arousal again.
Cannot wait. All right, we're going to wrap things up. We're back tomorrow at 2. Tomorrow we're going to talk to the voice of the Regina Pats. His name is Dante DeCaria. Looking forward to that conversation. He had a front row seat to all of Connor Bedard's Pats games. So there will be our first in a series of guests talking about good old number 98.
Yeah. And also, final note here, Jakob Galvis is officially going to Sweden.
Yes. The Malmo Redhawks.
Yep.
From black to red. Good luck to him, man. I'm surprised he didn't get more of a look.
Yeah.
But he probably sees the writing on the wall and says...
Numbers game.
Yep.
Yeah. Good for go play a year in Europe, get some tape, and then I'm sure some team will be giving him a call. He's a good player.
Absolutely. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow at 2. Reminder, we are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app, use promo code CHGO when you sign up. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 2 o'clock on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Stop it.